All right, welcome to the North Fork Experience, the podcast where we explore the journeys of exceptional individuals and businesses shaping our communities and industries. I'm your host, Kirk Hays, and today we have a recognized top agent, a multi-million-dollar agent, and the team leader for Keller Williams Real Estate. Please welcome Floyd Turner.
Thanks, Kirk.
Floyd, fantastic to have you. Let's dive right into your North Fork experience here. You've achieved great success as a top agent in Bucks County, recognized as a rising star and multi-million-dollar agent. You direct this success to creating a partnership with your clients. What does that partnership model look like in practice, and how does it differ from a traditional transactional relationship?
So I would say that, having systems and models in place around what the transaction is going to look like from the initial meeting with our clients, and having an understanding of what their goals and their timelines are is really important. And understanding along the process that there very well may be some things that don't go the way that we'd want them to when we want them to. And being there for our clients and having that conversation up front, right? Setting the expectation of what this could look like, what we want it to look like, obviously.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're two different things. So
Exactly.
that's more about what it looks like and just being myself inside the transaction and ensuring that with our clients and our partners in that deal.
Yeah, I think communication's so key in that, and not just communication up front as far as kind of how you expect things to go, but when you do hit those roadblocks, just being real upfront with people and communicating, hey, this is where we ran into a bit of an issue, and then you can work together to get to to work through whatever roadblock you might have ran into there, and and get around it and still have the best outcome for the client there.
100%.
Excellent. So you built a concierge style business that provides clients with ease, knowledge, care, and respect. What is the most critical element of this concierge service that ensures clients feel like they are the only ones you are working with at the moment?
So I think a lot of times that comes down to not just it being me, right? Because no one succeeds alone. We know that. So having a team around me, whether it's my title company, it's my lender, or if it's my conveyancer, my back office, which we use different transaction coordination services for. So having those people in your corner so that it doesn't just feel like you're a one-armed paper hanger, right?
Yeah.
As I say. Right. So having that ability is more about what it is than it is anything having to do with just being Floyd. It's a team that's around me.
Yeah, such a crucial thing for really all businesses is having that team, and not just the team, but a team that you can really trust, that is going to do the right things and do good by the client, so that they can help guide them through that process. And like you said, they know that they're getting more help than just from you. And when you got that team around you, it really can simplify things and make the process go a lot smoother. So you recently stepped into a role as team leader for KW Bucks County Central, focusing on culture, training, and growth. How does your experience as a top producing agent inform your strategy for leading and mentoring the next generation of industry leaders?
Kirk, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I use my mistakes more than I do my successes in real estate to help share the message, right? So that I'm paving over some of those things that I've stepped in the past so that folks have a smoother way about getting to where they're looking to get to. Right. So I would say that being a top producer is not as important as being someone who learns from failure and failing forward, and be able to share that with others.
No, I like that. You always, no matter how much experience you have, you got to be able to learn from your mistakes, and you're going to make them. Yeah, we all do, and as a team leader, especially, it's important to share that with those next generation of people that you're mentoring, so they can avoid some of those pitfalls. And again, everybody's going to run into them at some point, but if you can lessen the impact on them, it can be really help them out in the long run.
Absolutely. And the thing about that is the role is called team leader. So I have a team here that I get the pleasure of leading. So the folks that support our market center on a day-to-day basis help do that more so than I can. Once again, same thing as my real estate business. It's always about the team.
Yeah, and I like that it keeps circling back to that, because that is such an important aspect of what you're doing there, especially as a leader of that team. That leadership aspect is so important there, and that the people that you're leading get a really good mentor that has their best interest in mind. So you have served as a productivity coach and or a KWU approved trainer. What is the single most important habit or system you instill in agents to help them transition from being overwhelmed to becoming mega producers?
So I would say the thing that helped me, and once again, learning from experience and sharing with others, there's a book that was written by Gary Keller and Jay Papazan called The One Thing. And in that book, the focusing question is, what is the one thing you can do such by doing it makes everything else easier or unnecessary? So asking that question and getting back to grounded, that O word of overwhelm
Hmm.
won't come into play
Yeah.
nearly as often. There will be things that are overwhelming because they all happen at the same time.
Yep.
But when you ask that question, it leads you to understand, like, okay, there's one big thing that needs to happen. And when
Yep.
I do that, that's going to solve for other things, or at least get me on the right trajectory to the success that I'm looking for in this space.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point. So, you got to kind of categorize issues that you might run into on a day to day basis, and knock off the important ones first. I mean, there's stuff that can be put on the back burner for a little bit, and there's certainly stuff that needs taken care of immediately. And that's being able to categorize that and always focus on the thing that's really driving you forward is a key, pillar to a success for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So your market center thrives on pillars like profit and legacy. How do you coach agents to balance immediate productivity needs with building a sustainable long-term business legacy?
So I think the coaching starts first with understanding goals, right? Everybody's different in this, that there are some folks that need a different skill set than others in order to hit their goals. So having that conversation with folks is important. Is sitting down with folks, understanding what their needs are for their real estate career and what they're going towards. I think that's where we start. We start with understanding goals, and then from there we can put together a plan and move in that direction.
So yeah, I think real estate there, it's communication is just so critical. And we talked about it a little bit there for your clients, communicating with them and staying upfront with them through the whole process. But then as you transition to a team leader there, it's equally as important to mentor the people that you're leading, because like you said, everybody has different goals for their process. Everybody has a different skill set that they can bring to the table. They might need a little bit more work on one area that some of the other people just don't need as much work on when you're mentoring them. And I'm sure that communication is just so critical to understanding what they need and what you can most efficiently help them with when you're trying to help them through this process.
Yeah, and we take a big, I'm going to say exception, but might be the right word, Kirk, that we take exception with mentor versus coaching. Understanding that mentors are people that you're probably going to check in with, they're going to give you great advice, and they're going to send you on your way to go do it. And where our coaches are folks that, they're in the game with you.
Yeah.
Their losses and wins are the same as yours because you're the same team.
Uh-huh.
And you're the person that knows what's happening inside your business, just like you do, so that when, it's game time, we're all suiting up and getting into the mix.
Yeah, I like that analogy there. I'm an old athlete myself, and that was a big thing for me, and a lot of the ventures that I've been involved in is just that team aspect is really valuable to me. And when everybody's pulling for the same thing, it really it helps a lot. There's just something to be said for that when everybody has the same vision and the same end goal there, and it's effective for sure.
Absolutely.
So you serve clients across Bucks County, Montgomery County, and Philadelphia. What is your strategy for maintaining deep market expertise across such a diverse geographical area?
I think I do the same thing most folks do. And I have my hot sheet that's always letting me know what's going on, what's coming up. With AI now, it makes that a tad bit easier,
Mm-hmm.
right? To
Yep.
be able to go in and take a look and say, hey, give me an understanding of what's happening here. We use Gemini Pro here at my market center, so I can take a snapshot of what's happening there and say, hey, help me understand what I'm looking at, in a sense, right? As simple as that. And then obviously getting in more in depth, asking better prompts and better questions around what I'm looking for. So that's what I do. I have some greater, more experienced agents in my market center that may use some other things that
Uh-huh.
I should probably ask them more about so I can
Yeah,
coach and
yeah,
cheat to it.
yeah. Now that's a great point there with technology. It can really make you more efficient, more knowledgeable, and yeah, it's one of those things that if you can really adapt to it and bring it into your workflow, it can really help you save a lot of time, be a lot more efficient, and just get more things done as you progress through your workday there, and try to match clients with the right property. So your success is directed by listening to client needs and follow through. Can you share a principle or strategy you rely on to ensure consistent follow through, which is often the biggest challenge for busy agents?
It is absolutely the biggest challenge, and it is for me as well.
Uh,
But what I've learned to do, Kirk, is put everything either on a task or an account. Actually, let me say it better. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist.
yeah, yep,
So having task and uh, email reminders or things of that nature that pop up that say, hey, you know what? It's Kirk Hayes' birthday. Let's get in touch with him and see how things are going.
yep,
It's Kirk Hayes' house anniversary, right?
uh-huh,
And following up. Last time we spoke to Kirk, he said might be ready to move in anywhere from 3, 6, 9, 12 months. And right. And also, we have an amazing CRM system here that has what we call smart plans in there that's constantly touching our clientele in order to make sure that they don't forget us. And we
Uh-huh.
collect that, what we call mind share.
Yeah. Yeah, that CRM is so important, that, and follow through and engagement is so critical for your clients there. If you stay top of mind, it's a little easier for them to work with you. But if they go for a couple years without hearing from you, you can fall through the cracks pretty easy. And especially in a busy market like Philadelphia, it's easy to jump to the next agent down the road, even if you've had a good experience with someone else. And, I'm sure you can lose a lot of clients without that just little follow up, like you said, like, oh, hey, happy birthday, and hey, I know it's your house anniversary, like you said, and that seems like such a small thing, but it can be really valuable for you down the road there.
Because here's the thing, Kirk. We all know that everybody knows a realtor,
Yeah.
right?
Uh huh.
Everybody's a real estate agent.
Yep.
And what that means is then that your database, when it's not nurtured or you don't have lead development in there, then you are most certainly going to suffer from database attrition.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think you and I would both say that, hell on earth is watching, or seeing a social media post of your client, right? Your neglected client closing a property with, an agent somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. That's rough for sure.
So yeah, I want to make certain that I'm keeping my database, right? Even if those names live in other people's databases, they're getting the most love being in mine.
Yeah, understandable, and it carries a lot of value with it. And like you said, it might take some time to show up. You might not see that value for a year or two, even, but down the road when they're ready, it can add a lot of value to you. So yeah, it's definitely important. So you previously served as an assistant team leader. What was the most valuable operational lesson you learned in that role that you now apply to leading the entire market center?
The thing that I learned that, I have to remind myself because just like anybody, you struggle with habits and habit forming and, sometimes even continue to stay with habits. It's a time blocking piece, right? Is understanding that everything has a place and we prioritize what matters most and to do those things at the top of the day. Because when you put the most important thing to the end of the day, is it really the most important thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Use that to get myself back in line with the mission and our purpose of this role.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We talked about it a little bit there earlier, but that prioritization is really critical, and just being able to take on the most important tasks first, and also understanding what those tasks are. I think a lot of people get confused on what's really moving the needle forward. So it's important to really analyze, what is the best action to take right now, and not just jump into it. And first thing on the list gets done first. Well, yeah, sometimes you might have to rearrange things a little bit there to keep that prioritization in line there.
Absolutely.
So looking ahead, what key trends or shifts do you anticipate in the Bucks County real estate market, especially concerning the technology and training needs of agents in the next few years?
So, if I had to look ahead, Kirk, I might say something along the lines of just in regards to Bucks County. I know that, and Central Bucks is what we call somewhat of an insulated market,
Hmm.
but we will see the same trends that you see elsewhere, especially when it comes to technology, because technology I feel like infiltrates every market,
Yeah, absolutely.
and having the ability to use that at the highest level. Call with some really close friends that are in the same position I am within the company. And the thing that was said that I thought was really, really, really insightful was that AI will not take your job as a realtor, but a realtor using AI.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So that's the thing I would say is that, being the more experienced agents and using AI as a thought partner or an ideation engine would be the thing that I would say what's going to change the most, and we're going to see business change using it.
Yeah, I look at AI kind of like computers were in the 2000s. There, maybe some people didn't want to get on board, and those people probably don't have a business now. And like you said, they didn't lose their business to computers, but they lost their businesses to people that knew how to use them, and they added to efficiency and productivity. So I look at the AI the same way. I mean, you can act like it's not a thing, and you can not adopt it, but you're going to get passed out over by people recognize the value in it and, learn how to use it for them and learn how to implement it in their business. Excellent. So Floyd, this conversation has been incredibly insightful, really showcases your dedication to the client and client care and your powerful leadership in training the next generation of realtors. Your North Fork experience offers a powerful lesson on building a business through genuine partnership. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today.
Thanks for having me, Kirk. Really appreciate it.
Before we wrap up, for listeners in the Bucks County area who are looking for a trusted agent or for realtors looking to grow their business within a thriving market center, what's the best way for them to reach out to you to learn more about Keller Williams Buck County Central?
So I would say, if you want to call me, I pick up my phone, 267-357-9778. If you'd rather email me, floyd.turner@kw.com. You can find me on social media at TGIFloydC on Instagram. And Facebook is just my name.
Okay.
Also text me at that number that I gave, 267-357-9778.
Perfect. We will make sure to include those details in our show notes so everyone can access you as easily as possible. That's all for this episode of the North Fork Experience. A huge thank you again to our incredible guest, Floyd Turner. And thank you to all of you for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep experiencing all that our communities have to offer. Thank you.